You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, here on a Sunday evening. It's our old digs, Jared.
We're doing a big throwback tonight. Throwback.
It is definitely coming back home tonight. We are live on a Sunday evening on the YouTube.
It used to be record this, then instantly go and watch Game of Thrones.
It did used to be that. Those were the days. It used to be this and then boobs or death. And then we would talk about boobs or death on Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like that now. Now it's like I'm watching Dark religiously. So now it's more like, is it your father or your grandson?
Hold on. You could do boobs or incest? I don't know where we could go with that.
It's an interesting thing there. Yeah. If you're not watching it, Dark's a whole thing.
Dark is a whole thing. We would do a bonus show about Dark.
Dark is what Lost should have been.
Okay, that's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion on that. But this is a soccer show, and tonight we have lots and lots of soccer to talk about. On this program tonight, we're going to talk about Tyler. Why am I breaking on his name? Tyler Adams scoring a goal in the Champions League to put Leipzig through to the semifinals of that tournament. I mean,
did he though?
Okay, this is the question. We will get to that. We're also going to talk about what happened on Wednesday night in Frisco, Texas. They're supposed to be playing in Frisco right now. I don't know if they're doing it. Are they playing? I have no idea. Everything went down with the anthem and FC Dallas and Nashville and all of that. Weston McKennie and his future, Jared. At some point, we may have to broach that topic. Rose Lavelle, her rights got traded. It's a very American soccer thing, and so we'll talk about what that means.
Yep.
I have a couple questions for our people out there, including one about what you would want from your club should you lose a meaningful game 8-2.
Is that possible?
Some people lose 8-2, Jared.
Surely that was like a friendly preseason, right?
Some people have Lionel Messi on their team and lose 8-2. That's unbelievable. I don't know how that happens.
That's like the worst FIFA player ever.
That's right. If you
are Barcelona and you still lost 8-2,
nobody gets to 8-2. You rage quit way before 8-2, right?
So far before.
Way before 8-2. But the highlight of this program tonight here is special guest Brenden Aaronson of the Philadelphia Union. He's going to join us in a little bit to talk about MLS is back and where the Union are and being 19 and all the rumors that are around him and his game as a midfielder and his brother who just got signed to a homegrown contract, Jared.
Fro Aaronson?
No, see, you got to be careful with this. Like, I feel I don't feel like you should put the Freddie Adu, Fro Adu mojo on the Aaronson.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, you play for the Philadelphia Union. Your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Far fans. Yeah, there's a brother thing that's always happened. There's always been brothers in U.S. soccer.
Sure, but don't you give the Union credit
for Valentine brothers
having found these two brothers, put them into their academy? They're getting one of them is already talked about as a potential transfer to Europe. The other one is 16 and signs a homegrown contract. And again, and we're going to talk to Brenden about this. There are rumors on the street in Philadelphia, and those are some serious streets, that Paxton's better. They're saying that Paxton might be better, Jared.
You're not going to say that to his face, are you?
I mean, I don't know. We're going to ask Brenden.
Paxton with an E-N, by the way.
Yeah, with an E-N.
Bucking the trend.
Brenden with an E-N. It's an Ian family. What does that mean exactly?
And we talked about Dark. Ian Dark. Oh, my God. It all comes together.
Wait, no. Did you just – I don't even – what is that?
Jay Rodius.
I don't understand your brain sometimes.
You should. If there's ever a time for the it's incredible, that was the time, not the J Rodius.
The J. You want the actual D. Well, I wanted to I highlight your brain and how it works rather than the man.
Don't try to do that. That's more complicated than those walls in Dark with all the yarn and the different pieces of paper. You can't track my brain.
Don't try to figure out the family trees in Dark, but do try to figure out how it works in MLS with the Philadelphia Union. Again, Brenden Aaronson coming by. Okay, let's talk about Tyler Adams. Let's talk about this goal. Let's talk about this win for Leipzig. Is it the biggest goal ever scored by an American in European competition? Jared Dubois, yes or no?
I would say Dempsey's goal in the I mean, that was in a club. That was in a final of a UFA.
Hold up. Whoa. Are you saying that's a no? You're saying no? No to Tyler Adams.
I'm gonna say no, and here's why.
Okay, go ahead.
Clint Dempsey's goals in a final.
Which one?
The one for the Europa League.
No, but which goal?
That's the one where people asked if he chipped or if he shot, right?
This is the myth of this.
Was
is
it
what
semifinals?
Hold on. This is what I find fascinating about this goal. Okay, because a couple people came at me and said, "Oh, they came at me while I was talking about it on my radio show, Jared."
You have a radio show?
I do have a radio show. I mentioned the Dempsey goal, and I said, "Okay, Tyler Adams' goal, by no question, is it a better goal by the goal scorer? It's not like Tyler Adams chipped the goalkeeper from 25 yards from the corner of the box. Okay, it's not a better goal that way aesthetically, but is it a more important goal, et cetera, et cetera?" And some people said, "Oh, well, Dempsey's goal put Juventus or put Fulham into the final of the Europa League after they beat Juventus." And I said, "No, it didn't." Now, Jared Dubois comes at me and says it was in a final.
I thought it was. Was it in the semi?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't in a semi. It wasn't in a quarter. It was in a round of 16 game. I mean, round of 16 second leg.
Did he score in the final, though? Am I right on that?
I don't believe he did, because we would be talking about that goal. If he scored in the final.
Well,
hold on. They lost. They lost, right? Was it Atleti that year? Was it an Atleti year?
I think it was Atleti. I think they got knocked out and it came down to the Europa League.
So I don't think he scored in the final, because we would be talking about Clint Dempsey scoring in a Europa League final.
Listen, here's the thing, though. That one sticks out to my mind as maybe I should say it differently then. Dempsey's goal may be the best European goal American scored that I can remember off the top of my head right now.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, I suppose.
I don't think there's ever been a goal worth more money than the one that Tyler Adams scored.
Well, that's definitely true. Now, I think that's true in a couple of different ways. One, to Leipzig, who, by the way, I think it was 11 years ago, was in a regional top-level amateur league in Germany. Like, I mean, they were nothing. And this is the question of the corporate takeover and do people, Red Bull and all of that. But also to Tyler Adams and his value, right? Because it's a high-profile moment. Now, I think Tyler Adams was respected in Europe. He didn't even start that game, by the way. He came off the bench. I think people like Tyler Adams and think he's a good player. They stole him for $3 million. Is there any doubt that they stole him from the Red Bulls for $3 million?
Well, I think it was mutually beneficial. I don't know that they were going to sell him to anyone else, and so I think it helped both Red Bull franchises. It got him what he wanted, which was to get to Europe. I think that it was just mutually beneficial across all areas. And I think there's no way they're not going to get something more than $3 million from him when they sell him down the line. But here's the thing. If he's not starting for Red Bull, I mean, what's their plans for him? I
think that was a tactical thing by Nagelsmann. And I can't tell you enough about Leipzig's tactics and Nagelsmann as a manager to say, oh, well, this is why Tyler Adams didn't start in that game. And we know he can line up as a 6. He can line up at right back. He's been excellent for that team in both of those spots. So I don't think that it necessarily is a commentary on Tyler Adams that he didn't start that game. And remember, Jared, it's the world of 5 substitutes. We're living in the world of 5 substitutes. I know you hate it.
I don't necessarily hate it, because I think it's going to make – I think it takes – man, I go back – man, this is a tough one, because everyone loves a guy that's got a 90-minute engine. The guy that can perform in the 85th minute and still chase the field down, So you're going to get less of that, I think. And also, this is something I've been adamant about. There's going to be guys playing into 38, 39, and maybe even 40 years old at this point, because when you can have that many subs, putting Zlatan in or something like that isn't as much of a punishment.
You're okay. By the way, you're saying all of that, and I know what you're saying. You said that once the cow is out of the barn, or the cat is out of the bag, or the cheese is out of the pizza, whatever it is you said. Once that's done, we're not going back. However, the Premier League has already voted to go back to 3 substitutes.
Has it happened?
They will do. They've already voted. It's already locked in. Like, it's written down. You don't think they're going to stick to it?
Well, I don't. I think there's going to be plenty of leagues and or even FIFA internationally that may not go to that. I think that there. When you have a calendar coming up that's going to have a World Cup in the middle of your season, not too far away, and everyone's been talking for the longest time about the off seasons are shorter and shorter every year for these professional players.
We're going to be dead by June. Dead.
I think you're going to see 5 subs as a savior for that.
A Euro happens next year. A Gold Cup happens next year. Is there a Copa America next year? I think everything is happening next year. Nicky Subban Sausage is nodding his head vigorously. So yes, there is all of these things are happening. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna just pull this in. This is our friend Jonathan Tannenwald, Philly.com, Philadelphia Inquirer, saying that Red Bull stole from themselves because I said
question mark.
Leipzig stole stole Tyler Adams from Red Bulls. I understand it's the same organization, but they had to write down a value, and the value they wrote down was $3 million. And to me, that's a steal. Now, I don't know how much the gold changes his value.
I mean, listen, we've been talking just about Brenden Aaronson, who's joining us tonight. We were talking about what's that number. We said 6 was a ridiculous high amount, right? 3 million. I mean, 3 to 5 million for someone in that range. That's what you would expect a player to go from, and when their first moves out of MLS. Overseas in the 19 to 21-year-old range. Yeah, it's not Alphonso Davies.
No, I understand that, but why? Why is it not?
Have you seen? There's a difference between Tyler Adams and Alphonso Davies. Do you have eyeballs?
Alphonso Davies is a good player. I'm not going to say he's not, but what was the number for Fonzie?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Okay, sorry. Somebody in the chat will remind us what the number was for Alphonso Davies, and I know it was more, and maybe that's justified, and again, justified by his ability.
Don't you expect someone in the 19 to 21 year range to go for somewhere between $3 and $5 million? Isn't that the right number somewhere in there?
Yeah, but I also think that, okay, so one thing I maybe need to do, and I'm not the sit down and research it kind of guy, somebody put together a spreadsheet and then include me on Google Docs and I'll read it, is how leagues comparable to Major League Soccer in terms of estimation do in selling those players, what the numbers are.
The MLS is considered a bargain league.
No, it is, but at some point, in order to get away from
that may change when you see guys like Alphonso Davies coming through here and having success at the next level so quickly.
Yeah, here's the only thing. Like I said, and this is Frank in Orange County, right? Are Americans really worth more than $3 million when they've only played in Major League Soccer? Well, here's the thing. Unless you start selling those players, and look, I know Major League Soccer has gotten in trouble for saying our players are worth more than that, and then those players don't move, and then nothing happens, and you haven't actually set a market. I know there needs to be a market set, but have we not? Where is that? Is it Tyler Adams for $3 million? Is it Matt Miazga for $5 million? Is it, is it, I can't think of right now. What did
Davies, according to Nick, Davies went to Bayern for $22 million.
$22 million. So there's a massive gap between the $3 million for Tyler Adams and the $22 million for Alphonso Davies. Do you think that based on their contributions to their clubs, Alphonso Davies is worth $18 million?
No, you were skewing that question heavily.
What do you mean?
Wait, are you talking about the value to the MLS club they came from, or where they went, or where they ended up?
Well, no, I'm saying that I said that there was a bargain, that Leipzig got a bargain in Tyler Adams for $3 million, and you said, well, look at Alphonso Davies. He's no Alphonso Davies. And I said, okay, what did he go for? Nicky Soup and Sausage says he went for $22 million to Bayern Munich.
So is the question, is he 7 times the player?
Yes, that's the question.
I don't know if he's 7 times the player, but when you perform like that and you put your team into a Champions League semifinal,
that's result-based analysis. At the time of their sale, was Alphonso Davies really 7 times as much?
That's hard. That's like saying, which woman do you find more attractive? It's in the eye of the beholder. What do you like? What do you see when you look at them?
Okay, I understand position may be part of this, and like in terms of pure athleticism, maybe nobody beats Alphonso Davies. And then
Alphonso Davies is made for the system every team is playing overseas right now. He is tailor-made for that.
Well, that's true. The up and down the field fullback, the modern attacking fullback, that is Alphonso Davies. Jonathan Tannenwald tipping in $14 million for Fonzie plus incentives. So not just a flat 22, which does change the calculation a little bit. I mean, again, this is now Tyler Adams in the semifinals of a Champions League. It's a weird year. This is not the Champions League anybody expected to see. Not at the time of year we expected to see it. But you look at the situation, and they're going to be massive underdogs against PSG, Jared. But even the chance that Tyler Adams gets a chance to play in that game.
Let's just say it this way. Red Bull Leipzig is in the semifinals of the Champions League. That says everything you need to know. When you look at the other teams that they're sitting there with, their expectations have been met, succeeded, and succeeded again. It's ridiculous how far that they've come. That's not, when you talk about Final Four teams in the Champions League year in, year out, you would never talk about this team 2 years ago.
No, not close. No.
So it's an amazing thing that they're doing. And I'm so happy that American is part of it. But I still think there's definitely a difference between those 2 players.
Okay. I mean, obviously, it's Major League Soccer is still on the come up as a league, and we're watching that right now. And speaking of one of the top young players in Major League Soccer getting ready, maybe we'll ask him here to make a move one day to Europe and play in those kind of environments, is Brenden Aaronson. He's with the Philadelphia Union now, and he joins us here on the Best Soccer Show. Brenden, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Appreciate you coming by. Obviously, you had quite a whirlwind the last 5-6 weeks in Orlando. Not where you guys wanted to be as a team, but let's just start with what that was like for you, especially considering the soccer world in America talked a lot about Brenden Aaronson while you were down there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a great experience for the team, and I'm just happy at the run that we made down there. I think individually, I was proud of myself. I think I had a few good performances where maybe I wanted a goal, maybe I want another assist. It's just how I am. I always want more, but all in all, I just had a great time down there with the team, and it went just really well.
So talk to us a little bit about just the experience being down there as a person. You know, you're leaving your hometown for weeks. The stress that maybe came along with that. In the end, we know that this pulled off, and MLS pulled this off pretty well, to be honest with you, when a lot of people were nervous going into it. You as a person, your teammates, what was that feeling going into it versus the perception and then the reality once you were there and you spent time?
Yeah, I mean, just being in the bubble, I think that, like I said, MLS did a great job of setting it up. I mean, if you looked at everybody there, I think everybody would say it was a great job. I mean, on our floor, we had a players' lounge. They had many things set up that we can do. The pools were access. They really just had the full setup for a soccer player and what you need. I think just some days you'd be a little bored, of course, because you don't have your family around. You can't really leave the hotel. But all in all, I would say it was a great job by the MLS. And I think that our team did well under it. It didn't let it really get to us. And I think we just stayed focused and we did what we did best. And we won all of our games.
Now, I mentioned that, people started talking about Brenden Aaronson because of your appearances and your performances down in Orlando. And Brenden, we talk a lot as fans about how Americans respond to young players. And there's been this suggestion that we hype them up too much. What do you think? I mean, do you feel like there's a little bit too much of attention on you while you were in Orlando or where you are now with rumors and everything else?
For me, I think that the hype is in American soccer. I think there should be a lot of hype because there's a lot of good soccer players. Everybody's excited. So I think that's just normal. But for me, I try to block that kind of stuff off. Like I said, I don't go on Twitter. I've said that many times. I don't go on Twitter, Instagram.
I tried to tag you, Brenden, and I couldn't do it.
It's all good. But yeah, I mean, Twitter's not my main spot. I would probably say Instagram is. I stay towards that. I don't really like to look at all that kind of stuff. I just like to stay a level head and just kind of move with game to game. But I think that there should be a lot of hype around U.S. soccer. I think the kids that are coming in and kids that are coming through every academy, like Tyler Adams just scored in the Champions League the other day. I think there should be hype. A lot of good talents coming up. Gio Reyna scores like 2 in the game today. So I think there should be a lot of hype, and U.S. fans should really be happy about that.
I think it's a lot more. I think for where we are now versus 6 months ago, as a fan base looking at the products coming up, I think it looks and feels a lot better, as you look out to it. But you just talked about Insta, and we're going to talk a lot about your style of play, a lot about you as a player. But real quick, you mentioned Insta. In the world of the young American soccer players right now, who's got the most fire Insta out there? Like, who's the guy that's got it on point that everyone else looks to and says, "How are you doing it?"
Young guys, or can it be anybody?
Yeah, I would say in the 18 to 22, 23 range.
All right.
That's pretty tough. I mean, honestly, a lot of
your
these
generation.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think that I don't have that much swag on Instagram. I'm not even gonna lie, but I think that there's a few younger guys that do. I mean, of course, Christian Pulisic's got a pretty cool Instagram. I mean, Timothy Weah has a pretty cool one. Who else has a pretty cool one that I can think of? I think those are the two that kind of come off. Weston McKinney's got a good Instagram too. Like, I think they all have pretty good style. I'm not like the kind of guy that just wears that. Like, I don't have that kind of style. You know what I mean?
Talking about your style, though, man. So the hair's getting kind of long. Are we going for full man bun soon? Is it going to get to that level? Are you going to go man bun length, or is it going to get cut down?
No, I refuse. I'm not a man bun guy. I can't see myself wearing a man bun. I've always been kind of a hairband. I kind of stopped for a little bit, but then I got back into it.
All right.
But, yeah, I think that just hairband for me is it.
Now, Brady, I mean, you're a young guy. All the attention, all this stuff. There's some rumors about maybe a move to Europe. First of all, are you going to Germany? I just have to ask that flat out. But also, like, what do you make of all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna. If I had a good tournament, so I think that there's gonna be people that are always saying that kind of stuff, and it's always been a dream of mine to go over to Europe, and it's always been something that I've been thinking about for a long time. But I think that all I really want to focus on is the team right now. And that was my focus throughout the whole entire tournament. Like I said, I didn't try to focus on all the surrounding things that are going on. It was just more about the team and how I can help my team win the tournament or get as far as we did. And now the regular season's coming up. We play on Thursday now. So I think it's just keeping my head on the Union, just doing what I can to help the team and play my game.
So we're talking about how you can help the team. Let's talk real quick about what you see as your best assets going forward, helping the team, your best positioning on the field to help the Philadelphia Union. What are those things when you look at it, what the coaching staff is telling you that every day going into the game, you have to work on these things, and these are the things that the team needs from you?
Yeah, so for a 10 that I play on this team, it's a pretty high 10, I would say. It's not like a normal system of 4-3-3. It's a 4-4-2 diamond, which basically I'm a 10, but it's pretty far up the field. And my role is to basically play between the lines, between the center backs and the defensive center mids. And I'm always trying to get on the ball and turn the center backs and make them run backwards so then I can play balls through. But in the system, it's definitely tough because it's sometimes hard to find spaces. So it's more about just having the cleverness to maybe drift out wide, find different positions. And I think, just for me, it's tough sometimes because I think it's game time for me. And I think I just need to keep growing with the games and getting better at it. But no, you can go.
As a number 10, like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
I always wonder this, when you're at number 10 and you're up the field, you're trying to make things happen and that space opens up behind you. How is that relationship? And is there a natural number 10 guilt for that guy in defensive midfield that's got to fill that gap? And it's a natural thing. It happens. It's part of the game. But what does that feel like, knowing that like every time you go forward, if it doesn't come off, there's something happening on the other end, and it may be as a result of your decision-making?
Yeah, no, I think for a 10, you can't let that stuff bother you. I think that you are made to make those decisions, and you have to always have that. Like, you have to always have your mind made up. I think that's something that I've learned. I think coming into the league last year, I wasn't as confident in those positions, but then as I got in those positions more and more, I started growing more confidence and figuring out, I have this idea and I'm going to play this. No, in the moment, I know what I'm going to do and I'm going to play it then. And I think that's something that I learned throughout playing more games in the MLS.
Is that part the relationship with Jim Curtin and yourself, knowing that you have his confidence to make that first time play? Like, whatever your intuition is putting out there, that's what he believes in, and that's why he's putting you there. And that's what you're talking about. Just release everything else and just do what comes natural.
Yeah, I think that from the time I got at the Philadelphia Union, the coaches have shown so much confidence in me and have seen the quality, the quality that I have. So I think that, just he has all the confidence in me making those decisions in the final third. And I think that's, for a coach, when a player has that kind of confidence in a coach, you're going to go out and you want to play as best you can. And it's awesome having that confidence, if you know what I mean.
Brenden, Jared and I are old enough so that we remember when there weren't any young American phenom players in the league. We didn't even have academies.
Not number 10s, at least.
No, definitely not number 10s. So for you to come through, obviously, look, the Union have put a lot of effort into developing players, and it's not just you on the field. There's a bunch of homegrown players sort of littered across the roster and in the starting lineup. What is that for a kid from South Jersey like yourself? What does it mean to have a team down the road that's doing that and then join them and obviously get to the professional level?
Yeah, the movement now is as it has been, is youth in the Philadelphia Union, and I think you guys can see it now with the Union too. I think the average age on the team that played against Red Bull and won was, I think, 17 or 18 years old, maybe even less. So I think that you're seeing even more of a movement now than you were the 2 or 3 years ago. And it's great to see that young kids can go into this club and get chances. And you've seen that from me, Mark, Austin Trusty, Fontana, Matt Rial. All the homegrowns now are getting chances. And I think for a young player, it gives you so much more motivation, because if you work hard in every single training, then you're going to get your chance.
So you talked a little bit about at the Philadelphia Union, number 10, you're getting that mantle, you're getting that freedom. As you look to get your chances at the U.S. national team level, if you look at the last 10 years, even further back with the U.S. national team, you won't really see many number 10s in the way that we've chosen to play in the past. A lot of buckets, a lot of flat middle force through the midfield. Even now, every once in a while, you see someone kind of hint at it. But where do you see your game transitioning? And is that the spot? Is your job to force Greg Berhalter's hand to say, I'm the guy that can do this? Or do you need to find a different way into his system?
Yeah, so I've been at a few camps with Greg, and it's been great so far. I don't see myself as really a 10 full out. I see myself more of, I'd like to say 8.5. right in between. I work really hard for a 10. I like to get on the ball further back sometimes. So both systems works for me. That 4-3-3 flat, like I really enjoy playing in that too. There's no problems with that either. So I think that just for me, I think that it's just adapting game styles and adapting different formations, and that you just grow as a player as you go along with that. So I think that for me, I think that just learning how to play that 8 in his system will benefit me even more for what happens in the future if I make moves or stuff like that. So I think that it only benefit me, and I think that I can play that 8 position with no problem.
How much, obviously you're talking here about your roles in various systems, and Jim's got one way and Greg's got another, and how can you fit in, and doing things on both sides of the ball being important.
Yeah.
How many guys your age and the guys you talk to, the guys in the Philadelphia Union system, are sort of conscious of the tactics the way that you are? Because again, I think another thing that we talk about with American players a lot of times is physical gifts are all there, but these guys don't really know how the game is played on the field from a tactical standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's tough as a young player sometimes because you're trying to learn as much as you can. And I think it also grows through the game when you get to learn stuff. But I think that I've always kind of had that I've been able to grasp like tactics and all that stuff pretty easily because I've been a student of soccer, just watching soccer my entire life. And I'm such a big fan of, I'll turn the TV on from whenever I get up, 8 a.m. till the end of the day, just watching soccer on free days. So I think that just watching the game and studying people in your position really gives you that upper hand when you're like taking your game. You try to find people that play like you and watching them. And I really like doing that. And that really honestly helps.
So a little 2-piece here then. Can you name a player that when you look at, think that's what I want when I get out there, and that's who I want to emulate when I get out there? And also over the next 1 year, 2 years, what's the one part of your game that you want to focus on? Do you think is going to be necessary to improve to get you to the next level?
For me, my favorite player right now would probably be, he's been one of my favorite players. I always switch up between my favorite players, but probably Luka Modric.
Okay.
He's probably the guy that I really look up to in the way that he plays. He's super smooth. I don't think the guy loses the ball. I think he takes chances. He's really good with both feet. And I don't think he necessarily plays that full 10 position. I don't honestly see a lot of full 10s in the modern game now. It's 8s that can get up and down and can run a lot. So yeah. I think that I see him as one person I look up to. And honestly, if the weeks go by and I like someone that I'm playing, like I like someone that's playing, I'll try to adapt to their game or something like that.
Also, hair tie, no man bun.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. What about the piece of your game that you want to improve on in the next year or two?
I think the biggest thing for me is still the final third. I still think I want to get better in and around there. I think that there's a few times where I can take shots instead of passing, and I want to kind of grasp that more and just keep working on my finishing and definitely that final pass. And that can always get better as a number 10. So I think that that's just something I want to get better at.
We'd already mentioned his name on the show because he's in the news, Brenden, your little brother Paxton, and yeah. You got another little brother coming along. First of all, how many Aaronsons are there, and how good are your brothers?
Yeah, so I have my one brother Paxton. He's a really, really good player. Over the quarantine, we did 1v1s. Me and him have been a training partner since we were super young, and I've seen him grow, and I've seen the player that he is, and he's gonna be very special. And I can't wait to watch him play more and more in these professional games. So I think that just for him, if he keeps working hard and doing the things that he's been doing from a young age, he's going to be a really special player. And I have a younger sister, and she's turning out to be a very, very good player.
I misread a name or something. I got it wrong. I apologize.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's all good. But yeah, she's turning out to be a very, very good young player. And I've been to a few of her games. She kills it every time. She'll score a few goals. She's more of a winger though than we are. So she's pretty fast. She can get at people. But I think that we definitely have a good family in that way. Definitely good genetics from my dad and my mom. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see everybody growing up and watching their games get better.
The Aaronsons coming through. Obviously, Brendan's already doing it for the Philadelphia Union. Again, back in action in Major League Soccer coming this week. And Paxton's now signed as a homegrown player, and your sister coming along. We look forward to seeing all of it happen. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming by, man. Congratulations on the tournament. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one, okay?
Brenden Aaronson, man. Good stuff there from a bright young player in American soccer, Jared. you don't talk to that kid and feel like he's missing any of the pieces, right? I mean, it's all there.
Nah, he's a pretty mature young man, dude. Like, he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like a nice guy. Stay off that Insta. Don't get on that Insta. You know, stay off the Twitter.
brand.
Actually, Insta's okay. Don't get on that Twitter though, man.
No,
I can tell you, it's cancer. I've been there.
Twitter is doom scrolling all the time. Insta, you can actually find like pretty pictures of the Sonoma Valley or something like that. You can. I mean, that's for old people. That's not what Brenden Aaronson's looking at.
I mean, you might be able to find nice pastoral scenes of somewhere near Borussia Mönchengladbach. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, Gladbach could be a place. The idea of, and we already, we led into the Brenden Aaronson talk with this, the idea of an American player having this sort of 1.5 year run for him, maybe a year. I mean, he established himself last year with the Union. He's really come to the fore in 2020, despite the weird year. That kid getting attention and maybe moving on is something definitely worth watching in American soccer.
Well, and he talked about all the young players that Philly's doing through a homegrown program. It's important to them to see someone get sold. I really do. You know, I'm not saying you sell all your talent. You still want to be a team known for building your talents with that. But for those guys coming behind him, for everyone, let's be honest, no one in American soccer is thinking MLS is their end product. They're really not. You know, if you believe in yourself, you're seeing as MLS going to Europe. So it's important for them to start seeing that path establish itself at the Philadelphia Union. And that's going to make your youth program even better if people start seeing that there's a path.
Look, and this is the thing. We can be the most American soccer dudes in the world. And, I think obviously we love the game here and we love our league and we love the national team. And we want all those things to be better. And also recognize, Jared, that the day that Major League Soccer is the pinnacle for players on the club side is so far away that you and I might not live to see it. I mean, we can be honest about that, right?
Is that because we're Old Dad FC, or is that just the program's not ready?
We're also Old Dad FC. I might have an update. I might have some news on the development arm of Old Dad FC on this program in a bit. Let's do this. Let's open the phone lines on a Sunday night. 717-727-BEST. All the besties get in here. Tell us what you think about that chat with Brenden Aaronson, where you think Tyler Adams. I said Weston McKennie. We'll get to him too. Tyler Adams and his goal ranks, and maybe what it means and all of that. I mean,
maybe you want to talk about Rose Lavelle and what that all means, what that whole thing was.
Do you want me to explain that to you? Because you see,
let's talk about it. No, it's just so American.
It absolutely is that. I won't deny it. So, obviously, Jared is kind of joking earlier tonight before we jumped on the air. Like, what is this about Rose Lavelle? She was traded, but she's not traded. She's going, but she's not. Rose Lavelle is going to sign with Manchester City. We are almost 100% positive that Meg Linehan from The Athletic is saying that, right?
That's where girl Sam Mewis is, man. They got to keep that BFF thing going.
And the rumor was that when Mewis went, that Lavelle was going to follow her. That was always the rumor. Lavelle had some injury stuff that maybe Man City was a little iffy on, but based on tonight's news, that OL Reign have traded to with the Washington Spirit for the rights to Rose Lavelle. I think it's $100,000 in
plus a first round draft pick. I think
first round draft pick, which means a lot in the NWSL. Let's not remember, or let's not forget,
still a very college fed league.
That college matters in women's soccer. They're trading for the rights, but Rose Lavelle's not going to play for the Reign or the Spirit or whoever, at least not in the first part of 2021. Because she's going to England.
So basically, Rose Lavelle's dibs are worth $100,000.
Yeah, but we've seen this in Major League Soccer, right? That rights get traded, or teams trading for the first pick in the allocation order, which is basically just rights. Usually you don't do that unless you're 100% sure you're signing a player, right? And
those
things. Go ahead.
What I want to know from the callers tonight is, how do you feel about seeing your favorite players going overseas? Are you happy for them? You think this is the best thing for them? Are you worried about your league when you start seeing these really high profile names go over there back to back? Are we worried about what NWSL is? Is it the second tier league now to Europe? Is it the afterthought? Well, it's what you do in your off season. No, here's the thing: is NWSL what you do in your off season in Europe, or is Europe what you do in your off season NWSL?
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
I don't think you're denigrating the NWSL, but I just want to make sure we have context here, right? So first of all, you can't throw out Europe, just the word Europe, like it means something.
Let's not act like Olympique Lyon isn't a big time player as well. I didn't want to say England because France has great teams as well.
Well, France has one great team. There are some decent teams sprinkled across the continent.
Barcelona's put a lot of money into their program as well.
Yeah, a lot of money is maybe relative. I don't know. A lot of money is the right way to describe that.
Okay. Because
But
they've signed a big American. That's not a lot of money.
It's Olympic Lyonnais. And by the way, I have a cursory knowledge of this, but it's Olympic Lyonnais, and then it's maybe a German team or two in there, and then it is the English
Arsenal,
clubs
Chelsea
on the come up, spending some cash that they have. I mean, Manchester City can find money in the couch cushions and buy half the best players in the world.
But because those teams you just mentioned, the Champions League is a big draw.
It is. Well, so this is what I think. The Champions League is a draw because it's called the Champions League and it happens in UEFA. And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that the NWSL is still the best league in the world, but because you have something called the Champions League that pulls together clubs that are called Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Lyonnais, Manchester City, whoever makes that tournament, that's obviously, even for women who know that those teams aren't the same on the women's side as they are on the men's side, are going to be like, hell yeah, I'm going to go do that. That sounds amazing. Let's go try it. Right? So that's why the NWSL suffers, at least on some level, even though their standing in the world of women's soccer is way above Major League Soccer standing in the men's world, right? There's no
it could be this is good for the NWSL. There are those players coming up that these players are getting out of the way of. You're going to discover the next Rose Lavelle. You're going to discover the next Samuels because the depth is that real here. It really is. The depth is real.
The depth is real, but what has always been the differentiator when it comes to star power in women's soccer in this country? What's the thing that matters most?
Marketability.
Well, but why are you marketable?
Because you sell tickets to young girls who buy things.
Yes, but again, so that's reversing. No, you're going in a circle.
You're leading me to water I'm not drinking. What is it?
They play for a certain other team, Jared. What team do they play for? They play for the U.S. Women's National Team, right? If you don't get a chance to play for the U.S. Women's National Team, you can be the best player in NWSL, and you ain't nearly as marketable as a bench warmer for the U.S. Women. That's just a fact, right? Now, I think Vlatko Andonovski is more likely to say, okay, let's clear some of this stuff out. Let's you know what? Good on you, Megan Rapinoe. Go be an activist and play for the Reign if you want. Or, hey, it's time to move on from X player or Y player. And I don't want to throw anybody on the bus. I'm not trying to do that. They're amazing. They won back-to-back world championships. But that's how we get to.
But every team has to choose a point. There has to be a point. Barcelona's there right now. It's not like you're being mean to Messi and Suarez. But is it time? Every team has that life expectancy, that shelf life.
Well, it ain't Messi and Suarez that are the problem.
The horror show.
But just saying that's not it. Those are not the guys that are the
Either
problem.
one of them playing right back.
Absolute disaster in the midfield and the back line for Barcelona right now. You're right. Every team has to make a decision. Vlatko's going to make some decisions. It's going to be interesting to see what that means for available spots in the U.S. Women's National Team. It'll also be interesting to see, and he's more willing, based on his attitude and sort of the shift that's happened at U.S. Soccer, more willing to look at those U.S. Women's National Team players who go abroad than Jill Ellis ever was, right? I mean, we know that was a thing under Jill Ellis, that if you wanted to play for the U.S. women, you better be playing in the NWSL. Now that those shackles are off, go ahead.
No, I think you're right. That's fine. I do believe, and I'm forgetting it before Jill Ellis, our Swedish national,
Pia.
I think Pia didn't have quite the same line with that. I think she was okay with the European as a European herself. Well, Jill Ellis, I guess, as well. But for Pia, I never got the feeling that you had to play domestically to be on that team. I mean, if I remember correctly, I believe Megan Rapinoe did numerous stints, and Tobin Heath did numerous stints overseas during her reign. But I think you're right. I think Vlatko has a more holistic view of what's going on in women's soccer right now, and you can't be as myopic as just to say the NWSL is the end all be all.
About that. It's not just about being myopic. It's not just about what's close to home. And this is sort of, again, this is the inverse of what we see in the men's game, right? So remember when our own foreign coach for the U.S. men's national team, when Jurgen Klinsmann was in charge, he put more emphasis on playing in Europe than any coach previously and sent, right? Like for him, it was, you need to be playing in Europe to challenge yourself. Oh, are you 18 and pretty good? Get your ass to Europe. That's the only way I'm going to get you into the national team.
Unless you're Jordan Morris. In that case, stay at Stanford.
Well, okay. Well, even Jordan Morris probably would have suffered under Jurgen at some point. But I think that it's the opposite here. So Vlatko saying I'm open to players based in Europe is a good thing in the sense of being open-minded. But if you're talking about week-to-week competition, what's better? The FA Super League the German league, the top division there, the French league where Lyon is dominant. No, it's NWSL. That's the most competitive league week in,
week out. But there's 1 week every 2 weeks where I think the other across the pond wins, and that's Champions League fixture dates. And it's just how you balance that and what's important to you. It's that name brand is so strong, dude.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. And I'm fine with any women's national team player or any women's American woman going abroad if she gets the opportunity. I'm saying, like, do it. Go take your chance. Go drink in the beer gardens in Munich and go walk the streets of Paris and go, whatever it is you do in Prague. I don't know. It's pretty or something. Amsterdam, ride a bike in Amsterdam and probably stay away from the red light district. But I'm just saying, I want them to do that. But you have to get to that question of, like,
let's change a little bit. We happened to talk about a certain gentleman named Messi a little bit ago. What are the odds you're putting on MLS being a real viability for Lionel Messi if he wants to leave Barca?
You just shifted. Yeah, okay, all right.
Danger zone.
There is a rumor bouncing around. I don't know if this is what you're directly really discussing, right? That there's a rumor bouncing around that he wants out of Barcelona. Now, when you get
there's a report today, like on a guy video reporter saying that that's the report. Yes,
right. Well, which means nothing, right?
Yeah.
In fact, you and I could do this, right? We could say Lionel Messi has told the Barcelona board he wants out at Barcelona, not in 2021 when his contract expires. Right now,
it just makes some irresponsible announcements right now.
Absolutely. Let's see. Brenden Aaronson is set to sign with Bayern Munich. No, I don't want to do that. That's probably not right.
That's probably not the right way to do it.
He was on the show. That's probably
Bayern Munich. I mean, that'd be pretty hot.
After his goal in the Champions League quarterfinals, Real Madrid is now after Tyler Adams' signature and wants to add him to their roster for 2021.
They're really interested in deflected goals in 2021.
They want his versatility. I'm trying to be positive here.
Okay.
I want versatility.
Dude, okay, let's talk about the Messi thing. But after the Messi thing, I really want to talk about the longing that Americans have when they look at Alphonso Davies and how close he was to us in terms of proximity. And, like, looking at Canada.
Wait, you think we're thirsty for Alphonso? Like, we think we have, like, we covet Alphonso?
I think we bring him into our umbrella. Don't you kind of bring him into, like, you follow him in a way you don't follow people from other countries as a player?
Oh, sure. The cultural exchange between the United States and Canada.
But is it a MLS, like, MLS did this kind of thing, or is it like, ooh, man, Canada's getting their stuff together kind of thing? What is it that draws us to Alphonso Davies as Americans? I'm
going to break this down for you, okay? Because this is an interesting topic.
Bite-sized pieces, please.
I'm going to break this down to you in percentages. Okay, I am let's see. I am 25% sort of proud in the general sense that Major League Soccer made an Alphonso Davies. Okay, 25% proud that he came out of.
How old was he when he came to when he came to Canada? How old was he? How full of a player was he at that point?
Oh no, he was a baby when he got.
Was he really? Because I knew he was 15 when he joined their development academy.
No, he was a baby in Edmonton when he got to Canada. So that yeah, I don't think
Canada gets credit.
Canada gets credit for sure. He played like a free soccer program in Edmonton. I think it's Edmonton. I'm pretty sure.
No, it is. I'm pretty sure it is as well.
Okay, before he got spotted there and got invited to the Vancouver Academy. So Canada gets all the credit. Again, but this is the same thing that we do with Pulisic, right? Like, okay, America gets the credit. And I'm not even talking about Pulisic being in England for a little while and being in Spain for a cup of coffee with Barcelona just to see it. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm just mean like, yeah, but he's kind of a unicorn, right? Like, how much credit do you give the country that burst the unicorn for the unicorn when you only have one of those? Like, is it really Canada that made him, or is it
but what is our fascination? Why are we fascinated with Alphonso Davies as Americans? Is it the MLS thing, or is it?
Well, for sure, we think we should have that player, and we kind of do already. But also, he's another one, and we haven't done it enough. If there were 5 Christian Pulisics in the world, we wouldn't care as much about Alphonso Davies.
Alphonso Davies may be the best at his position. Can you say that about Pulisic?
No, but I don't think that that's necessarily an indictment on Pulisic. He plays a heavier, richer position. He plays a position. He's an attacking midfielder or a forward in a 4-3-3 in a world full of those players.
Or is this some kind of Freudian thing where we're a fan of Alphonso Davies because we're scared of what Canada might become, so we're keeping an eye on it?
No, I'm not scared of Canada. I'm not
scared of Canada.
I'm not scared of Canada. I'm not.
There was a time where we weren't scared of Costa Rica.
Well, okay. Well, let me say it this way. It's not that I'm not scared of Canada. It's just that if Canada gets better, I don't think that necessarily is the end of the world for the U.S. men's national team. Okay, let me say it that way, right? So if Canada gets more competitive, and I've always said, I want Canada to get more. Canada, get your crap together. Like please, like you're the neighbor whose house has like the lawn is 3 feet high and you haven't cut it, and everything is, you know, the shutters are falling off the windows, and it's like, you know what? If you don't do what you need to do, the HOA is going to come calling. Like, I'm ready for Canada to step up and do what they need to do to be competitive, because it will help us, because we won't, you know, more competition breeds a better U.S. men's national team, right? I mean, it should be the case, right?
Okay, I think a big part of me is that I'm proud MLS made that. For me personally, I'm not sure if everyone else.
Like I said 25% proud. Where would you put it in your whole total 100% of feelings about Alphonso Davies?
I would say that's pretty much all of it, because like
you're 100% proud of Alphonso Davies coming out of Major League Soccer.
Well, I don't understand how you're percentaging proud. Like, I either have it or I don't.
I'm just saying, if I'm talking about my complicated feelings, you're the one that talked about that.
Well, I guess I have complicated feelings. It's only complicated because he's Canadian, so I don't understand why I care. I don't understand why I shouldn't care. You know,
okay.
But for some reason, like Mike Myers, for some reason, like or like Canadian comedians, I have this affinity for them. You know, because I think this is that American superseding thing where we think of Canada as part of us, that we kind of like, it's kind of basically America. So like we're
like America's minor leagues. That's what.
Yeah, it's kind of like, he's one of us, I guess.
Okay. I mean, if we're going to talk about Canadian comedians, I don't know. I've never felt like, they kind of belong to us. Obviously, I mean, there's so many of them. It's impossible to go through even a list. But yeah, okay. I mean, I think it's 20, and I know you're 100% proud. Good for you. I'm 25% proud. I'm like 50% annoyed that he's Canadian and that he's not American in that way that you're talking about. And maybe 25% is, oh, shut up already. Like I've done enough with Alphonso. But I mean, he did it. What he did in that game against Barca deserves the kind of love that he's getting. And I made a joke on Twitter. I was like, it's like living in an apartment and having an upstairs neighbor that's having parties all the time. And you're like, okay, we get it. Shut up. You're popular. We understand. Please stop.
Yeah. I guess I want everything. I want all the cool, shiny, sexy things, and I want them for myself. And I can't have this one, and it bothers me.
So, but you're not going to trade places, right? Like, you don't. Actually, this is good. I'll present it to you this way.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Would you rather have Alphonso Davies and what he's doing, if he was American, or you were a Canadian? Flip yourself that way.
Yeah, or depending on the election goes, or
a Pulisic, who obviously is hurt, but a Pulisic and an Adams and a McKennie and a Gio Reyna. Would you trade places? Would you want Canada's star at Bayern Munich, maybe best fullback?
No, it's not a one-man game, so no, I wouldn't. I think we're in a better position in terms of what talent we have coming on. But goddamn, he's sexy.
You just can't let it go. Like, it's just
I can't, man. When I watch him, I'm just like, oh my Lord, I want a piece of that.
Jay Rodius.
I mean, it does help that your opponent has given up on the game. Like, we're going to take away from Tyler Adams in that goal because it was deflection, and we don't know if it was on target. We don't know if he's going to beat the keeper with that.
He got credited with it, so I guess they assume it was on target.
But it's not like Alphonso Davies was going up against a defender who was really in that game anymore. And his head was gone. Barca was all out of it. They were done, right?
I don't know. Maybe he just looks faster because the guy just never stopped moving. I don't know.
All right. Nikki Soup and Sausage, what's up?
What did you guys make of the post-game show where Micah Richards didn't know where Alphonso Davies came from? Did you feel a little offended there, considering they're on the air in the United States?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't
come from as in he came from MLS, or come from as in Canada, because I don't care if he didn't know he was from Canada.
I didn't see the video, so I can't recreate it exactly, but I saw Taylor Twellman tweeting about it, and basically what it was Micah Richards said, oh, Alphonso Davies, incredible talent, doing all these things for Bayern Munich, and 3 years ago you didn't even know where he played. Where did he play? Who knows where he played? Kind of like that.
Okay, I guess that's a little bit messed up, but I also get that's kind of honest of where Europe is compared to us, and where their attention is. What have you done for me lately? Until you do something big, you're not going to be on their radar necessarily. But I will say this: Micah Richards, who do they have? They have Roberto
Martinez and Jamie Carragher.
Okay, Jamie Carragher. I gotta say that is the closest I've seen to like an NBA on TNT kind of environment, like that NBA Tonight kind of thing that they have. Micah Richards is good at that. Micah Richards is like kind of Barkley Shaq-esque in terms of the way he bounces stuff out there. Very casual, very easy, kind of funny. I kind of dug that studio environment, those three, that panel, more than any other panel I've been watching lately.
Okay. I mean, you want to keep some praise on them. I watched a little bit of the pregame for that Leipzig Atleti match, and what I saw was Jamie Carragher and Roberto Martinez just slathering up and down the Red Bull system, the global thing, because it got Tyler Adams from, or maybe it was post game because it was after the goal, but it got Tyler Adams from New York, upstate New York, into the academy over to Germany, and now he's doing this thing in the Champions League. And there are some people who really, really hate the German, the Leipzig thing in Germany because of sort of the corporate element of it and what they represent and how they bought their way to the Bundesliga, Jared. I mean, some people are salty about that stuff.
Is it any different really than Bayern Munich pulling from Bayern Munich 2 or something like that? I mean, you have feeder systems that are the Red Bulls just happens to be in two different countries.
Well,
but
more
it's
than
all
that,
one
they have a
system.
team in Salzburg too,
Yeah,
right?
in Austria as well.
And they have a team in Brazil. And go ahead.
I mean, this is part of what the global game is. Find talent, find it, make it yourself if you can. And if you can, share it with your bigger partners. I don't understand why they're salty about it. Everyone's competing in the same world market.
Well,
figure out a way to do it better.
It's not about the players. It's about the corporate element and the fact that in Germany, you have the 50+1 rule, which means that a fan trust has to own 51% of the or 50+1% of the team. And in the Red Bull case, they got around that. I don't know exactly the mechanics by which they did it, but they got around the 50+1. They used that RB. It doesn't stand for Red Bull because you can't do that in Germany, except unless you're Bayer Leverkusen, apparently. Yeah. But they don't have the RB stands for Rasenball Sport, which is a made up thing that it's not actually a German word that anybody uses. They made it up so they could have RB before Leipzig. So that's why people are salty, because they're not, because they're a modern construct.
By the way, it came up in the chat, and Morgan said this. They asked, "Is Nick really wearing a Skyline Chili shirt?" And this would be the equivalent of me wearing a tacos shirt. Like, how do you go wear the food in your geographic area on a shirt?
It would be like somebody wearing a Pat or a Pats or a Gino shirt from Philadelphia. That's what it's like.
Is that a name brand? Wait, Skyline is the name of a restaurant?
Oh my God! Wait, what?
Time out.
Okay.
You didn't. Yes. Skyline Chili is a restaurant local to Cincinnati. That is like
I thought it was a type of chili that you guys are known for. I didn't know it was like a
Skyline Chili produces what's called Cincinnati chili,
which is the chili that you think is gross,
which you've never had.
Okay, I that was like a Cleveland steamer or something like that. It's just something that's known as something,
Anyway, yes, I am wearing a Skyline shirt, Morgan.
Okay, Cleveland Steamers and Skyline Chili are not related in any
at
way.
all.
It's all Ohio stuff. I don't get it.
Okay, I mean
all I know is Cincinnati produced Rose Lavelle.
Cincinnati did produce Rose Lavelle.
Okay,
what does Toledo produce again? What does Toledo got?
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes.
Who's the girl from Friday Night Lights?
Don't know that show.
I can't remember.
No, man. We went from Katie Holmes to a girl we can't name real quick. I don't think the lift ain't that deep.
You mentioned Old Dad FC earlier, and I feel like it's necessary for me to bring you up to speed on where we are with Old Dad FC, because this is you're building a club as a process, Jared.
And for people that know, Mrs. Davis is pregnant.
Well, yeah, okay. This is the reason for me establishing Old Dad FC, and I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to be able to hire Matt Wolf to design the logo and the branding. I'm not quite there yet. However, ahead of the launch of Old Dad FC, we wanted to get the youth development up and going. So yes, my wife is pregnant, hence the creation. And it turns out that I'm going to be working on the boys' side for the foreseeable future. So
you're going to have two boys.
I'm going to have two boys.
Congratulations, sir. Is that what you were hoping for?
I don't know if I was hoping for anything. I was trying to keep it very neutral. I was trying to keep it right down the middle. I actually thought it was going to be a girl. I really did. I had this gut feeling, it's going to be a girl. Nope, not a girl.
So the color for Odad's FC is blue. That's the color of the jersey.
Well, I don't want to be like everybody. Like, I want to be unique with it. So I'm going to have to consider that. I mean, I don't, it might be a beige or like a gray or something. I mean,
here's the thing. We got to make it not about you as Jason Davis. If we're going to get like a lot of dudes into Old Dad FC, it needs to be something that's on the crest is a recliner and like a koozie. I
thought we established all this already. I thought we figured out what this was going to be.
I got a lot of things I want on that crest. I can't even remember what I said before.
Again, maybe you as my creative director have to talk to Matt Wolf and figure this out. But while we're here talking logos, we got to talk about St. Louis, Jared. You got to talk about St. Louis SC. your first instinct here, just your first gut.
I felt like I was looking at someone melted some Anaheim Angels gear. That's what I was thinking. It's like this weird A shape that I get is supposed to be the arch or whatever like that. Waiting to be on brand.
Would you have ever figured out that the lines intersecting the arch were rivers? Would you have ever
know what that was? Didn't know. I thought, why is there a line in the sky going through the? This is their second shot, right?
No, this is their first shot. You're thinking
Did they do
Louisville.
one with fleur de lis or something?
No,
you're thinking Louisville. You're right.
They should have done fleur de lis. St. Louis is definitely a city that has that French thing going for it. Why not fleur de lis? Why not pull that in?
Maybe you do the arch, but there just had to be a cooler way to do it than this. I don't understand what it is. It's
what do you make of the name city? Right. So we have Orlando City. We've got New York City FC. We've got. What do you make of the city aspect of this?
I think I don't need to be reminded that what's a city and what's not. I don't understand why you have to remind me you're a city. Was it a word I thought St. Louis was a county or something? Like, I know you're a city. The only reason I understood it ever was because if you want to differentiate for yourself from another team in that same city or something like that, like the other name was taken already. Just at some point, I mean, when was the last time? Was Atlanta the last team that didn't have city in its name that came into this league?
Well, we had Atlanta United, you have Austin FC, you have Charlotte FC, you have LAFC, you have Inter Miami.
I guess my issue is more with FCs. I guess.
FC Cincinnati.
FC Cincinnati on the other side of it because they're Spanish.
But when's the last time there was a team that didn't have FC or city in the name? Literally, how far do you have to go back to get that?
Well, Inter Miami.
Seattle Sounders?
Inter Miami.
Oh, Inter Miami.
But so and by the way, at the time, I'm not sure I was 100% on board with Inter Miami, but it's a way better name to go with. Right, than a city when there's already a couple of teams in the league that could be called city.
I mean, St. Louis has so much history you could have drawn on somehow. There was so much that could have gone on there.
I agree with that. Now, I also know that look, you establish something, people get used to it, but nobody's going to call you city. They're going to call you St. Louis.
There's already too many syllables there.
What St. Louis
city on? Yeah, St. Louis. It's already two words. You're not going to put another the FC at the end of it, or city at the end of it. Like, it's St. Louis, or I don't know, man. Just call yourself the Saints. It was the easiest thing you could have ever done. I guess you already have the Saints in New Orleans.
And this is the thing, because it's
Santos. Call yourself Santos.
St. Louis, because it's St. Louis, and we call that's STL, right? Even that's three. They get three letters from their one STL. LA is LA because it's two words. Whatever. It's STL. CSC.
Are there any Saints that start with the letter D? Because that would be unfortunate if you named a city STD.
Okay, that's not yet. Well, San Diego. There's the Diego, right?
Oh man, dude, I went to school there. That's pretty apropos from the college experience down there.
I don't know. It just feels like they could have done better with that.
I don't want to know who they hired, but I kind of want to know who they hired because I can tell you who they didn't hire. This guy, and I don't want to say Matt Wolf's the only guy that does anything good out there, but for some reason it feels that way. But
he does.
Who sourced this?
I'm going to say something. Okay, so I'm going to say something that I'm going to go. I'm going to mention something that came up on Twitter in the immediate aftermath of this St. Louis thing, which I need to do more research on. But I just want to shout them out. There is a team, an amateur team in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Jared, and I'm trying to think of what their name is right now. It's Minneapolis City, actually. Minneapolis City SC.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and they may or may not have created like a kind of a development program for young kids in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. Their goal is to win the U.S. Open Cup with a Minnesota-based team, which, yeah, it's lofty, but I give them credit for coming up, having the balls to try to do that. They may have done some branding that looks remarkably similar to the city branding for St. Louis. And I can't say that they stole, that things were thefted.
Can we get a development academy for graphic designers in soccer? Like, can we just do that? Can someone just start that? I don't know. I feel like we job this out to some kind of American corporate advertising agency. They make it so vanilla.
A U20 team for designing soccer logos. I'm down with that.
Please.
Yeah. Can we get? I mean, I don't know if it's going to be free to play. It might be pay to play for a while, Jared. You might have to. Your parents might have to hook you up with some cash. I don't know how many free spots we can get into this program. We got to get soccer teams, but
then what we need to do during while you're at a development academy for soccer, on the side for your like educational requirement, you learn graphic design. That way, if you don't make it as a player, players are designing things for soccer afterwards in their career after. Right now, I think every former MLSer right now works in loans or realty. We should just make that into graphic design. There should be a side program. Then we have cool crap to wear all the time.
Okay. By the way, just catching up on the threads and stuff. It's not necessarily that St. Louis stole from Minneapolis City. It's just that things are very close, and the world of contemporary.
How are you trying to make Tupac and Biggie beefs right here?
All right, this is the part of the show as we get to wrap up here on the program where I think I'm going to have to just hand it off to Jared Dubois and Nikki Soup and Sausage because I may be out of this discussion. But you guys want to talk about the Apple TV show with Jason Sudeikis?
You haven't watched Ted Lasso yet?
I don't have Apple TV, and I have
a friend.
Do you have a Roku?
I have a Roku. Yes,
you can get Apple TV Plus on there.
Yeah, but you have the subscription to Apple TV though.
How much is that
going to cost? $5 a month.
Okay, so you guys know that I just renovated my house and I have a baby coming. So somebody give me $5 and maybe I'll get Apple TV.
Anyone that's bought an Apple product in the last year has it for a year. So make a friend with someone that bought a phone recently. Have them give you your login or something like that, or give them their login. You got to watch the show.
Is it worth it? Really?
It actually is, dude. Like it's not bad, dude. It's got a ton of heart, which I didn't think was going to have in it. It's actually pretty dang funny.
Jason Sudeikis is charming and has heart. That's Jason Sudeikis. And I like the dude. And I want to like the show.
If I told you there was a soccer show based off of a commercial, the bar would be so low. They're not barely clearing it. They're clearing it by a good mark.
And I'll say, if you're going to make a show off of a commercial, you do the Hugo Benito commercial.
Do you know who the showrunner is on the show?
I did hear that. Yes, I heard it's
Bill Lawrence.
Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs,
and Zach Braff, I think, directed the second episode of it.
Yeah, that's right.
The interplay between Ted Lasso and the other coach he has with him is really good. There's a Coach Beard, and basically Ted Lasso knows nothing about anything. You tell the other guy does all the work. It's kind of like the Tick. Remember, like the Tick was like he was the star, but the other guy did all the work. It's kind of like that, but he's just super charming and a good motivator.
By the way,
the other guy knows all the work.
The Coach Beard character is Brendan Hunt, who once upon a time, let's see how deep this goes. Once upon a time was the sidekick to Kyle Martino when he hosted a talk show on Fox Sports or Fox Soccer.
I remember that he replaced the Fox football phone in, and like one of his first guests was Susan Sarandon.
That's because Martino married Susan Sarandon's daughter.
Yeah. So this is when Martino was just breaking into television, and the guy who was his sidekick was Brendan Hunt, who's an actor. He's been in some stuff. I saw him in a couple episodes of sitcoms. He'll pop up as that guy. Like a one-off character, and he's a funny dude, so I'm glad he's good in this.
So I saw this in the chat, and I felt the same way when I was watching it. Cody McKinney's saying, I liked it too, but it feels like Major League set in England with female owners trying to ruin the team.
Well, look, I do appreciate, based on what I read, I do appreciate that the conceit is they brought him over to fail. Like the owners of the team want to fail. That's the only way you could engineer this commercial idea into, well, it actually makes sense for him to get hired. As for why he would ever take the job or any of that, I mean, I guess I have to suspend my disbelief.
Listen, I would have no problem panning this if it wasn't good. It's pretty good, dude. I'm not saying it's great. It's pretty good.
I read a bad review and I read a good review and I read an in-between review, and I'm like, okay, well, that's TV, I guess, right?
We'll put it to Slack. Let Slack tell you if it's good or not.
I went into it thinking the worst, right? I thought, look, the commercial, it was great, but I went into it thinking that this isn't going to be good, and I found myself kind of pissed off that after 3 episodes, I couldn't watch more.
Yeah,
honestly.
Wow. Okay.
My wife even could watch it with me. It was interesting.
Okay.
Well, Did you notice too, Jared, on the airplane, what Coach Beard was reading? He was reading Inverting the Pyramid.
Yeah, he's reading Inverting the Pyramid. Here's my one issue in watching it. They have a guy that gives them a winning play. There's no plays. Unless it's a set piece. Like, you're gonna run and be the dummy and the distraction, so this guy can run.
Like
in the run of play, you're gonna do that in the run of play,
and then he has him run it again.
Yeah, I'm like, if it's
Let's
a,
run
if
back.
it's a free kick, a set
Here,
piece, I get it.
Run the fumble rooski. Okay.
So as a soccer fan, it's just kind of like,
Yeah,
otherwise they've been pretty on point.
Well, okay, this is always what trips me up in soccer shows too. Is there soccer action and how well is it shot?
There's not a lot of soccer action.
There's not a lot. My only issue, the action was decent. My only issue is that initially when they did their first soccer action, they did the swoops and swash sounds like like you're watching like some kind of kung fu movie from the 70s every time they do a dribble.
That's funny. That's funny.
I don't like that kind of stuff. That's very like the Big Green or Ladybugs, you know.
Is there like an attempt to approximate reality? Is this like, oh, they're in the Conference North or something?
They're in the Premiership.
No, they're in the Premier League.
They had a game against QPR in their first
Crystal Palace.
Sorry, Crystal Palace. Sorry.
No.
And it's very clear that they shot this at Crystal Palace's stadium.
Okay. All right. I mean, maybe I'll find it.
Try it, dude. Try it.
It's not bad. I said, I went into it thinking it was going to be bad, and I found myself after 3 episodes wanting there to be more. So there you go.
Like an empty plate of Skyline chili. I wish there was more.
Bring back Matador, or maybe I need to work on my Spanish so I can watch Club de Cuervos or whatever. Why has it got to be Ted Lasso doing the dumb American and England thing?
No. Why does it have to be Jason Davis crapping on something he hasn't even watched? That's the most Jason Davis thing ever.
Oh, that is not true.
It's not true. Assuming that something's going to be bad before you even give it a chance.
I give everything a chance. What are you talking about? You're the one who jumps to conclusions about players and teams and all kinds of crap.
Yeah, but that's funny.
Jay Rodius.
All right. I would love to talk about TV for a lot longer, but we don't have the time for it tonight. Maybe we'll do some bonus show because I do want to talk to you about Dark at some point.
Well, how would people hear it if we did a bonus show?
You're going to go to patreon.com/JD and the Rod. And for anybody who is like, oh, this is the best soccer show and they're back, I wonder what happened to that other thing they did. We're going to continue doing JD and the Rod stuff, but it's going to be our bonus only content. So you can go get that on Patreon at patreon.com/JD and the Rod. You get access to the bonus content. You get access to our Slack, which is just humming along.
It's how Nick gets paid.
It's how Nick gets paid, right? You're supporting the show by helping us out so we can give Nick some scratch.
But in the meantime, if you want to get us at all of our regular spots, you can get us at the Best Soccer Show on Instagram. You can also get us at Bestie Soccer on Twitter. So if either one of those two places, and also your guys' rating and reviews have helped us get out the blocks really well. And also, we should talk about one of the reviews called us. Their wife said that we sound like the Beavis and Butthead of soccer. So am I insulted or am I flattered?
I mean, I think we have to be. Everything old is new again, Jared.
Am I the Beavis?
People are loving the retro stuff.
I'm the Beavis, aren't I?
Kind
of the Beavis.
Yeah, I think you are the Beavis. I think you have to be the Beavis. I mean,
I'm the Cornholio.
I'm supposed to be like I'm happy I'm the Butthead. My name is Butthead. I'm happy that I'm the Butthead.
Like, at least I listen to Metallica. You listen to AC/DC.
What do you mean at least? You're saying there's something wrong with AC/DC?
I'm saying Metallica's better.
Oh man, I don't have the rock chops to argue with you about that, but I do love some AC/DC. I do love some AC/DC. All right. Anything else, Mr. Dubois? Anything?
That's all I got, guys.
Yeah, Best Soccer Show across platforms, wherever you find your
rating and reviews, guys. Ratings and reviews, they really help us doing a fantastic job with it, boys.
I want to point this out. We are at a nice round 100 ratings on iTunes at the moment. 100 5-star reviews. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. I just want to chef's kiss that. That's fantastic. Thank you to everybody who helped us out with that. All right, thanks to Brenden Aaronson and for coming by and chatting with us as well. All right, for Nikki Soup and Sausage and Mr. Jared Dubois, we are out of here. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
And or hello. The horror show.
Oh, baby. Coordinated. Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 45 minutes.
But unfortunately, this is Los Angeles. I need more than talent. I need stars. Enjoy.
You shut your mouth. Talking to me.
Get to the chopper!
And or hello.
Jay Rodius.